views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Open BxRx, our special coverage of COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus, and how it's impacting the community and beyond. I'm your doctor, Bob Lee, and we have a great show lined up for you today. Coming up on today's show, we'll hear about becoming a foster parent and the need during this time. Plus, we'll learn about the powerful story of a woman who lost a loved one and a nurse who have come together to provide support for nurses around New York. After that, we'll sit down with a man who is making music while fighting COVID-19 and hear how he is finding strength to pull it through. Then we'll hear from a young actor about the work he is doing and how he's filling his days. Then Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports, and then later on, philanthropist, entrepreneur, singer, and radio host Alyson Williams joins us to share her personal career story and what she's working on from home. So stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now definitely open. Welcome. You know, our first guest is from Rising Ground and joins us for a look at the becoming a foster parent and the need for fostering during this pandemic. We welcome Sharron Madden to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here this morning.
Yeah. So you do a number of things. We had you on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, someone from your organization, and we were talking about all the wonderful things that you guys are doing. Just give us a quick synopsis of what you guys are all about.
Well, basically, we're all about children and families and providing services to individuals with intellectual disability, school programs. So Rising Ground is an agency that's multifaceted. There are lots to us.
Yeah. Now, during COVID-19, is it bigger than before? Is there a bigger need?
Well, you know, the need. So I'm here this morning to talk about foster parenting and recruitment. And there's always a need for new foster parents. And I think that in this time of COVID, unfortunately, that doesn't stop the bad things that happen to children. And children continue to have to be removed and placed into foster homes. And so at Rising Ground, we're just working really hard to try to recruit more foster parents who would be willing to open their hearts and open their homes and provide families for our children.
Yeah. How has the pandemic? How has it changed in foster caring?
Well, it's changed in many ways. I mean, it's changed in the fact that how we connect with when kids are in foster care, the goal is reunification.
Yeah.
So we want our children to return to their parents. And with COVID, it's a little bit more tricky because we do everything is remote. Most things are remote unless we think a child is an imminent risk at home. Most things are remote. The way in which parents connect with their children, it's through Zoom or WhatsApp. And so it's not that face to face. And I think that that's very difficult for parents, and it's difficult for the children as well.
What does it take, Sharron, to become a foster parent?
I think the first thing that it takes is to have it in your heart that you want to give back, that you want to provide a home for a child. And so our slogan is open your heart, open your home. So at Rising Ground, we're just looking for people who want to do that, who want to open their homes, who want to support children who need someone to take care of them, to love them, to show them the way. We are so desperate, but we're desperate for people who want to open their homes to the older youth.
Yeah.
And for me, I see these kids as our tomorrow. And so we need people who are interested in being a forever parent to a young person, to an adolescent. So at Rising Ground, we're all about trying to recruit for folks who want babies as well as adolescents.
And what are some of the things that you guys are doing to support foster parents at this moment?
Well, at this moment, our support, we reach out to our foster parents just about daily. We're calling them up. We're not calling up to say, well, how's little Johnny doing today? We're calling up and say, well, how are you? How are you managing as we go through this pandemic, this time in our lives that none of us have ever experienced before? So we're trying to be as supportive as we possibly can for our foster parents and be there so that they know that they're not alone.
Yeah, and how do you make it safe to assure that someone coming into your home is okay? Do they do testing before they get there, or how does that work?
They're medically screened before they come into a home. A child is always medically screened before they come into a home. What's been interesting is during this pandemic, we've had foster parents who have come down with COVID and have said to us, please don't remove Johnny. And so we worked with our foster parents, they will need to be isolated. And so that we know that our children are okay and that they're not coming down with, not getting sick. And we'll have a nurse reach out to the family daily.
So if someone wants to become a foster parent, can they reach out to your organization? What's the steps necessary?
If you want to become a foster parent at Rising Ground, please, 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 we welcome you. You can reach us at our website, www.risingground.org, or you can call us at 914-375-8667. Please reach out to us, give us a call, talk to us, and let's see if you can open your home and take care of and love a child who's in great need.
And they can go to a website or follow you guys on social media. More information.
www.risingground.org.
Sharron, thank you so much. Sharron Madden, Executive
you.
Vice President and Chief Program Officer for Rising Ground.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. And we'll see you soon. Stay safe. God bless.
You too.
All right. We'll take a break. I've got more open on the way next. Welcome back. Our next guests are from an Adopt a Nurse program, and they join us today to share why they created this program and what they are doing with it. We welcome founder Kristen Hansen and organizer Angelina Proia to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for your service. First of all, you came up with this during this time, during this pandemic. Tell us how it all got started.
So I'm a fairly new nurse. I started working at my current hospital in January and had actually finished my orientation right around the time where coronavirus had hit New York really hard. So I spent a lot of time, on my drives home, very nervous, very anxious for what it meant for me as a nurse, what it meant for my family, my patients. And I spent a lot of time wasting my energy in a negative way. And I was trying to think of a way to have a positive impact on my fellow nurses and how I could somehow help and involve the community. And the idea kind of just came to me. I was staying up for another night shift. It was like 4:00 in the morning. And I'm like, what if I made like an Adopt a Nurse program where people in the community could get involved by adopted nurses? That way, for the people who feel helpless at home who want to help, there's something that they could do that's safe. And the nurses who are on the front lines, who are exhausted, stressed, to the max, and feeling very alone and sad. Like, this would be a fantastic way to support them. So I put some feelers out on some Facebook groups that were local to me, and the response was overwhelming.
Yeah.
People were super excited to get involved, and so it started out with just a Suffolk chapter. We were matching some nurses in Nassau, and the numbers kept growing and growing. And Angelina actually had reached out to me and wanted to run our now Nassau chapter.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how did you meet up with Angelina?
I think someone shared something with me on Facebook, and my father had recently passed away from COVID. He passed away on April 16th at 66. I felt very helpless. I felt like I'm not a nurse. I can't be on the front lines fighting this. So I saw something shared on Facebook, and I knew that this was my way of fighting COVID. Because the last person to be with my father and hold his hand was a nurse. The person who held up the phone so I could say goodbye to him while he was unconscious on an incubator was a nurse. And I just wanted to let them know that COVID families stand with them, and we want them to keep fighting for other people's loved ones. And I thought that this was a really good opportunity to fight while being on the sidelines. And I had to do something to honor my father. And that's kind of how it came about. I don't know who shared it with me, but I just saw it and I knew that I had to do something with it. So
How old was your father, Angelina?
My father was 66.
Very athletic, in shape?
He was running marathons.
Oh.
As recently as 5 years ago. He was, not a smoker. COVID doesn't care. It will kill you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to realize. And I just want to help all the nurses who are dealing with all the death that they're seeing, including my dad, and let them know that we're with them and we want them to keep fighting.
All right. Right on there. Sorry for your loss, by the way. Yeah. Kristen, I see you'll have a lot on your back wall there. Can you explain some of those?
So this is my wall of inspiration, my wall of gratitude. I change it on the daily. But these are all letters and cards and pictures from people who have been involved in this program, who have surprised me and sent me these beautiful, beautiful cards. There's one family who sends me a postcard every week with my face on it, oddly enough, and it's pertinent to whatever's happening either in the world or in the Facebook group. And I, like everyone, I have hard days, especially after I tend to try to cluster my night shifts together. So after 4 or 5 exhausting nights, you come home and you're just an empty shell. There's really not much left of you. So I get to come home and I see this. It's right between, my bedroom is right there and my bathroom is right there. So I see this constantly. And so it reminds me to keep going and fight the good fight. Yeah. And, when you're just feeling down, like it takes 2 seconds to just see, like, this one right here is from a 7-year-old girl named Charlotte.
Oh, says hi.
It makes me
I love
smile.
you.
And, these they're little reminders to just keep pushing on. Yeah. And I think that that's super important, because in times like these, when, we feel helpless too. There's only so much that we can actually do. And, you do absolutely everything that you can to fight for these patients, but sometimes it's just not enough.
Kristen, how does your hardest day look? You see all. You see people trying to breathe and try to stay alive.
So I'm someone who feels things very, very deeply. I'm not an emotional person in the sense where I cry a lot or anything like that. But since COVID has really hit us, I've been crying more in the last 2 months than I have in the last 5 years. Yeah.
What stands out in your mind that just makes you go into that?
So for me, I think that the most important part when I am going into these COVID patient rooms is that I make sure that they still feel like they're human beings. There was one instance in particular that broke my heart. and it seems so trivial, and it should be something that's trivial.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a massively important moment in this woman's stay with us. I went into this room around 5 o'clock in the morning. I was drawing my morning labs and giving her medications and just, talking to her. Super sweet lady. She was in her early 40s. She was on a non-rebreather mask. And she was doing okay. So we're chatting, and I just noticed that her hair was a bit greasy. So I said to her, I was like, do you want me to wash your hair?
Oh.
I know you're super busy. I don't want to take any extra time of yours. And I said, no, I have the time, and I would like to do this if you would let me. And so I yelled outside and asked someone to grab me one of the warm shampoo caps. And I came in and I washed her hair, and I let it sit there while I was drawing her labs. We're talking, joking. And then I sat there and I combed her hair out. And she started tearing up. And she's like, you're the first person who has treated me like a human being in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And that, for me, was just like, that makes me so sad that something so small meant so much when this is something that should be a small thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes.
So, I mean, it's little moments like that stick with you. So I make sure that I do any and everything that I can to make these people feel human. I had a patient a week ago who he wanted to show me a YouTube video. And he's like, it's so funny. This is how I feel right now. And a lot of people would just run out of the room because, oh my God, we're breathing COVID air. And maybe it's maybe I'm just young and naive, but, or maybe it's because I care, but I'm going to stay there and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to watch the video, and we're going to have, I'm going to do my very best to foster a good, caring relationship with you.
God bless you, and thank you for being you. Angelina.
Yes, sir.
Do you think we should continue this far beyond the pandemic? Because our frontline people, our first responders, should be recognized all the time for the work that they do.
I will tell you that I never realized how much work nurses do, how much they give their patients, and how much sadness they can see that they're exposed to. And I think COVID's really brought that to a heightened level. Will I continue this after COVID? Well, yes. I don't know that COVID's going to end anytime soon, but when it does, there will be something new, and there's still going to be more to give nurses. They're still going to have another battle.
Yes.
So absolutely, I'll be a part of it in honor of my father. That's something that I would like to be a part of, because nurses are fighting things at their own peril. As I said, a nurse held the phone up to my father so that we could say goodbye. And, my father was very active in a highly infectious COVID-19, infection. I mean, he had a very active, deadly infection, and someone held the phone up to his ear so that I could say goodbye. The last words, that I could say, I love you, to my dad.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all that you're doing, Angelina Proia, and God bless you, and stay safe, and continue on with this program far beyond COVID-19. Kristen Hansen, thank you for your service, and God bless you also. And thanks for joining us on BronxNet, okay?
Thank you, Bob.
Stay safe. We love you guys. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you guys are doing, because, yes, people, if they have to go, if they're going to die, you want them to die with love and dignity. And, yeah, and with people, if you can't get people, your loved ones around you, at least have that compassionate nurse that's going to be there, and for the last days or for the last minute. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. We got more next coming up. Welcome back. Our next guest, created music while healing from COVID-19. He joins us today to share about his songs, I Believe, and some of the other songs. We welcome David Soto.
How you doing?
To the show.
Hi.
Welcome.
How you doing, brother? Long time no see. It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Lower
Thank
East
you.
Side, big up.
Yeah, we're representing Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Lower East Side.
Tell us about the music. Well, first of all, during this pandemic, you kind of got caught out there a little bit with it. Tell us about that. How did you fare? How did you come through?
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I mean, it's something I really didn't want to talk about, but friends and family felt that it was important. I was like, let the music speak for itself.
Yeah.
But they said it's important to always give the backstory about why you're creating this music. And so, yeah, late March, man, March 28th, I started feeling that little tickle, the cough. By April 1st, I was like officially down and out, man, with all the symptoms. And it got
had the
really,
headaches
really
and
bad.
the fever.
I had the fever, headaches, chills, everything. I could barely move, just pain from head to toe. It was really scary.
It was like you went 15 rounds of boxing.
Yeah, man. I think the challenge is I really didn't want to let anybody know because I didn't want to get the family nervous and afraid for me. But, and I think that's part of, something I wanted to talk about for those that may be going through it is dealing with that fear and also isolating yourself. Can do you a lot of harm because it wasn't until I reached out to my family and friends that I was able to activate that support system.
So how did you come out of it? I mean, did you start writing music as soon as you were done with that, or you started getting into your music? Or?
Yeah, well, throughout, I didn't eat or anything for 16 days.
Whoa. Yeah.
So I had lost over 15 pounds. So it wasn't until I started recovering. I eventually spoke to a doctor, and they said that I needed to start doing my breathing exercises because it impacted my lungs. So I figured what better way to, breathe and work that out, but to start singing.
Oh,
and, So,
you take the deep breaths to belt out that
exactly
that tune.
So I actually have some of the recordings where I have like the original vocals. You can hear me like struggling and but the process of writing I thought was therapeutic. It was healthy for me to get through because there's a lot of what happens mentally when you're afraid that you're dying. There's a lot that goes through your mind, your family, your children. So that was my fear, man. The 16th day, I was really, afraid.
Did you also think that, wow, I didn't accomplish everything that I needed to accomplish. I need to prepare for this and prepare for that. Did you feel unprepared knowing that or thinking that you were going to go in that direction?
No, I felt that I wasn't ready. There was definitely so much more for me to do. I definitely want to continue to be here for my family and continue to do the work I do. So that's why I just feel so blessed that I'm actually still here. And
so you didn't tell your family. When did your family find out?
It was over a week.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to say anything because, I didn't want them to get concerned about.
You just didn't let them in the house, huh?
Well, that's what it was. Once I activated that support system, my family and friends came. They dropped something off at the door and ran. So, they hooked me up. I mean, vitamins, ACE, electrolyte. Ginger tea, ginger and garlic tea, all the old school remedies that grandma used to do that we disregarded. That's what's happening now.
Because you feel that your lungs have developed like a pneumonia feeling? Yeah,
I actually do have a pneumonia. It's healing now. I actually did my my follow-up x-rays on Monday, so I'm feeling better. It's improving. So I'm grateful, man, that I've been able to go through this recovery process.
So now you have this song called I Believe. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, I Believe is probably the third song that I wrote during this time. I've written about 6 songs so far. So I've been super, just going through the emotion and kind of the spiritual connection with God and prayer.
God will sit you down and say, hey.
Yeah, it's time to reevaluate. So I Believe... initially, I did a song called Victory, then I did Blessed, and then this one is I Believe, and I felt it was just the most ready to be put out there that I could actually produce here at home.
Is this a gospel category? Or
it's like, it's kind of like an R&B gospel, like rock type, a ballad. So it's and it just talks about being grateful to God and just appreciating the blessing of still being here, reevaluating yourself, you know, understanding that we go through this process and sometimes we end up in the same place that we were because we don't learn our lessons. So that song just talks about believing that you can get through this and that God can heal you, and believing that your friends and family are super important.
Wow. And you know what? And you, I can hear it a little bit in your breathing, but you've come through, and I believe that you're going to be okay.
Thank you, brother.
God
I really
has
appreciate
got you.
it.
He has a hedge of protection around you. Yes.
Amen. Amen.
And I believe that you have favor.
Amen.
You want to give a big shout out to any of the people that you go to church with, or the congregation, or the pastor?
Pastor Jonathan. He calling me. You know, of course, they were all praying for me and my family, and all my friends. Also, Mount Sinai. I was able to, you know, do a virtual doctor's visits, and then they have something called Precision Recovery, where they basically track through an app. So for those that are fearful like me of going to the emergency room, you know, check that out. Precision Recovery, Mount Sinai, they all have the apps where you can see your doctors virtually.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, David. You know, a lot of people were afraid to go to the emergency room because they thought that, you know, hey, if I go in there, you know, I'm going to go off the deep end. They're going to intubate me and put that tube in my throat and everything.
Exactly.
And I'm going to have a rough time getting out of that.
That's
so
the
a lot
fear.
of people try to heal at home.
Yeah. And I think that's the important part of knowing that these resources exist, because I didn't know till a friend of mine that lives here in the building, he texted me and he said, look, you know, these are other options. You don't have to go in. They can see you virtually. And if they need to recommend antibiotics or whatever medications, they can do that over the phone.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a great thing to know that. So I've been recommending that to people that don't want to go to the emergency room. And sometimes you don't really have to. You're not there yet.
And plus you had your old school remedies, and you had God to help you out.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Grandma always used to do the ginger and garlic teas. Yes, now I know why.
That's right. So wait a minute. You got to hit me with a piece of one of your 3 songs that you've written.
It says, I'm here again where I first started, trying to find a way. Yes, I'm crashing again. That's all I wanted. I'm looking for peace again.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you,
voice,
brother.
Dave.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it.
How far do you want to go?
Yeah, man. I've gotten a lot accomplished during this time. I've been isolated. So it's been a blessing. I've gotten a lot of support on social, a lot of people reposting my songs. You know, check out my YouTube page, Deso Monster. Deso El Afro Caribeño, it's Afro-Caribbean style of music that I do. But I'm also doing an event, May 30th, a virtual performance at Loisaida Festival on May 31st. Good. So folks can check that out, Loisaida Inc. on Facebook or YouTube. So it's like a blessing to be here with you. I'm gonna be doing Loisaida all from here, from the crib. So it's I've been blessed to have the support now.
Now tell everybody to pick up your music in Spanish. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bueno, por favor, recoge el disco. I believe we do Spanglish, you know, being that I'm New Yorican. So recoge el disco. Si pueden chequear la Deso El Afro Caribeño en YouTube y Facebook. Gracias.
There you go.
Thank you, brother. You're putting my Spanish to the test.
Hey, David, thank you, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your time, man.
Continue to heal. May God continue to bless you and keep you safe and bring you through. And I believe that's so because you have a hedge of protection around you. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
David
Likewise.
Soto, singer, songwriter. We'll take a break. I've got more open coming up next. My goodness, I'm on TV with my good friend, the phenomenal woman. She's an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. And I see her in concert all over the place. And when I see her, she sends chills to my body because that voice is something else. She will get to you if you're in the crowd in the audience or you're backstage watching her and you just introduced her. Give her a big round of applause. Everybody on TV, everybody that can hear this, the sound of my voice. Alyson Williams, ladies and gentlemen. I introduced you like we were doing it on stage.
I know. I'm saying to myself, you know what? He really knows how to put it together for a girl. Hi, Bob.
How are you? You've been doing music for some time, but not only that, you're a radio personality too.
I am, and I'm excited because this is something that I always wanted to do when I was, putting together my college years and what I thought I needed. I had a scholarship, a dance scholarship at Marymount, but my minor was communications broadcasting for radio and television. But what I found when I got to Marymount is that they didn't have communications broadcasting for radio and television. They had journalism. Right. So I went into the journalism area, and being young and, when you think you know everything and, you're just being stubborn and what have you, I kind of fought against it because it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And so I didn't realize that the journalism would lead me to the communications, and I could always, take that somewhere else. But I'm glad that, I had those opportunities. And eventually I got into more of the communications and the broadcasting end of it. And I guess I did a promise to myself. I said, when you start doing your music and you start going to these radio stations and you start doing interviews, never just do the interview. Always demand that you can read some copy, or say the weather, or do a commercial or an infomercial or PSA or something. Yeah. And that's how you'll begin to, get more experience. And it worked. And I've got opportunities to work with Tom Joyner, Doug Banks, for Kathy Humes, a station out in LA. And I got a chance to work with BLS, and I got a chance.
I remember you up there. I said, wow.
Yeah, for 15 whole minutes.
Yeah, look at that. But
in
now
the
you're
morning,
over at
no less.
Yeah, you're over at CHR, is it?
I'm at HCR, Harlem Community Radio, WHCR, the voice of Harlem.
There you go.
And
so what are you working on, and how are you handling this COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, before I just go there, Bob, I just want to say the last thing that I was trying to get to. I can be long-winded sometimes.
Go ahead.
I have just wanted to reach out through you and say to all of the incredible radio personalities, you brothers and sisters as well, who laid it down and laid the foundation. Thank you for embracing me. You know what I'm saying? With my endeavors, because nobody ever said, girl, stay in your lane, or why you got to come over here? Nobody ever did that. Everybody said, Alyson, cool, you got this. This is another skill in your skill set. We're proud of you. Keep it moving. So thank you.
Yeah, no, we will never say that. Whatever you feel in your heart that you want to do, whatever you're passionate about, go on and do it. That's what it's all about.
Well, you can go do it. It doesn't mean everyone will support you. And so it's good to feel the support.
That's right. So you even called me one night and said, Bob, stop singing.
But Bob,
you told me to stay in my lane. But sometimes I
guess what I should have said was, don't stop singing, just stop singing on the air.
Because you can sing in the shower, and as long as you feel good about yourself, just go on and do it.
In your heart. If you got a song in your heart.
What you working on, my girl?
I'm working on a lot of different things. Most of all, I'm working on keeping my sanity.
Yeah.
Staying encouraged, staying faithful and prayed up, and knowing that we are all going to come out on the other end of this.
Amen.
And come out better than whence we went in. I every day, for me, the lockdown started in January because I had an accident and ruptured my quadricep muscle.
Yeah,
I remember seeing me, on with this big thigh to ankle brace. And so I was incapacitated and could not move around, could not work, could not do a lot of things.
Our girl, Sandra tells us all about you. Yeah, Sandra DaCosta, she lets me know everything about you. She said, Alyson's doing this. She's celebrating her birthday. Wish her a happy birthday. That's why I called you and said, happy birthday. You said, Mom, I got to go.
I know, and you're like, oh, it's all right. I just want to wish you happy birthday. Thank you so much for that. But every day I wake up and I'm just glad to do that, and just trying to, like I said, I don't worry about being in because I kind of like it when I'm not performing or in a crowd of people or that kind of environment. I really cherish my downtime and
Yeah.
trying to keep myself motivated enough to do the things that we always say we're going to get around to it, around to
Exactly.
it. And
Yeah.
so this is giving me a great deal of time to catch up, and hopefully when the gates reopen to what we know them to be, or whatever the new normal is, I'll be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And not running on the wheel as fast as you can, kind of thing, which is what we tend to do. And I think for whatever it is, and I'm sorry for people who have been affected in negative ways. I mean, it's all been negative, but people have lost their lives and loved ones, and I'm sorry about that. But I also know that the earth itself has had a chance to kind of reboot, replenish, clear
Yeah.
up waters and skies, and just rejuvenate to a certain extent. So there's got to be a method to this madness and a
Yeah.
reason. And for whatever the positive takeaways are, we have to embrace them.
Mhm.
As artists, it's really difficult because my entire,
Yeah.
way of making money is shut down.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel the same way. I'm a
Yeah.
community type of guy, and
Exactly.
I can't do the community the way I want at this point. I'm just helping out in other ways, handing out I-95, N95 masks, and PPE equipment, and buying food for the elderly. So that's what we can do through Make the Great Foundation and through WBLS. But you've been giving us such great music over the years, and when you come out, people just stop and they listen. The last thing we did together, I think it was in New Jersey, and that was a nice venue, and people. It was like a lounge type of situation where people were able to put what they needed on the table, some foods and some drinks and all that. And you went out there and you tore it up. You did your thing. You were in concert. And everybody was in concert with you.
And I miss that. I miss
Yeah.
the element of the live audience and performing with live musicians. It really is, there are a lot of things I can do. I've been lucky enough to have people wanting me just like you to do interviews and webinar things and all kinds of things like that. But there's nothing like being in front of a live audience with live musicians.
Yeah.
That's the element, and that's what you crave, and that's what's missing. I've been doing things. I'm working on new music. We have a single that's out now called Happy Wife,
Uh-oh.
by Herb Middleton. I did a Christmas song with Herb called, Happy Holidays in 2016. And when 2017 came in, we thought we'd go ahead and create another song. And he came up with the concept, Happy Wife, Happy Life. And it's just about the men. It's a message to the men. This is how you keep your women happy. This is how you you have to do a little bit, go a little extra, go the extra mile because she's worth it. And we were trying to, I think, if I could remember correctly, put that out there around the Valentine's Day celebration. We didn't get a chance to put as much momentum as we wanted to, so it kind of just sat. So Herb came up with the idea. He said, we're all artists and we're all musicians and having a rough time. Let's put the single out and see if it can garner some, attention, and maybe that $1.29, we can split that a few times.
So, I know that's right. Yeah.
So the single is called Happy Wife, and that is just that's just one of the songs that I'm working on. There's some other things in the works that are I think that will bind together or serve as a musical platform for what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
For the message of staying hopeful and faithful in this COVID environment. So I have that kind of music coming, as well as I'm finally getting back to my jazz roots. And a lot of people they know me as the first lady of Def Jam, but they don't know that my background is jazz.
I know that's
so,
right.
So over the last few years, I've been working with Christian McBride. And one of his many incarnations is called A Christian McBride Situation.
Yeah.
And the Christian McBride Situation is Christian McBride, Patrice Rushen, Alyson Williams, Ron Blake, DJ Jai Sundance, and DJ Logic. So it's a very eclectic jazz, R&B, gospel, soul conglomeration, I guess you would say, of music and live, and it's great. So between that and my own productions with one of my producers, Maurice Lynch of Maurice Lynch Music. We've got an EP we're trying to do. It's called Summer Nights in Harlem. And it's very traditional. It's when you listen to it, you feel like, oh, I've heard this before. But no, these lyrics are new. So I just want to be that, when I came up with music and listening to people like Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and Dinah Washington and all those great women, Nancy Wilson was actually a mentor of mine, they put music into the world that became our standards.
Yeah.
Or they sang the standards and put their twist on it, and their versions became what we looked for. So I want to be a vocalist, an artist that will put new standards into the universe.
And you are.
That will stand the test of time, and the generations to follow me will go, wow, that is what.
And you know how to do it. Who does it better than you? Now listen,
thank you.
If you can sing one of your songs or somebody's song, just a touch of your voice on BronxNet TV. Just a touch.
Wow, are you asking me to try to figure out what I want to sing?
Yeah, your favorite ones, just a touch that will.
My favorite song. Okay. So I always go to the songs that I learned when I was a kid. And it's funny because most kids learned church songs and I learned jazz standards. So I'd have to say, my funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with your heart.
My girl. That's good. Yeah. You don't have to go any further. We already know what you sound like. Oh, girl, can you do me a favor?
What is that?
Lend me that earring because I got a bunch of 45s at the end of this row here.
I want you to understand that you're going to be able to have this as a belt buckle, as a bracelet, as a earring. I don't know if you do a small piercing for a man. You're going to have it as a ring, a bracelet, a pendant. This is the new thing that I'm doing. And just be patient with me. Trademarking, all that stuff takes a minute, but it's coming.
You have AW on it?
Yeah, it will be. It will have some of the AWP branding attached. Absolutely.
There you go, my darling. Where can we get all your music? Where can we see everything? Social media, website, all of that.
Okay, I'm on Facebook, Alyson Williams. You'll see me looking like this and just in my icon on Facebook. Instagram, Alyson Williams Music altogether, and on Twitter, Alyson AWP. The website is being rebooted, but when it comes back, it will be AlysonWilliamsMusic.com. You can find Happy Wife on HerbMiddletonMusic.com. You can find Happy Holiday when you're ready for it, and you don't have to wait for the holidays, on Spotify and across the other platforms. And we're about to expand, like I said, with the newer music. As soon as it's ready to be consumed, you'll be able to find it if you keep your eye on me. Keep your eye on me.
Well, we've got you. I see you. And big up to Sandra DaCosta and Andre with the Bouillon Foundation. They're always backing people and helping people get what they need, helping others get what they need out of life. And I think
they are the connect of
God
the
bless
world.
You, Yes. Alyson, thank you so much. Alyson Williams, entrepreneur, philanthropist. She's a writer, singer, and a DJ or an announcer, or if you want to get more proper, she is a broadcaster, and she does her thing right there. Thank you, Alyson Williams.
Thank you.
All right, we love you. Stay safe.
Thank
God
you
bless
so much. I appreciate you.
All
right now.
My girl, Alyson Williams. We'll take a break right here. I've got more headed up next on Open.
Morning, sports fans. Bobby C. here as we continue our series, this time around the top 10 Knicks moments at Madison Square Garden. Coming in at number 10, Linsanity. Short-lived, yes, but noteworthy. It was unlike anything seen before in Knicks history, perhaps NBA history. Just 6 games removed from playing his first significant minutes of the season, Jeremy Lin was starting the 3rd game of his NBA career. Do you remember against whom? Lin and the Knicks were facing off against Kobe Bryant's Los Angeles Lakers. Lin morphed a declining season into one filled with youthful hope. Lin dropped 38 points, a career high on Kobe's Lakers that night, including a dagger 3 late in the 4th to send the Lakers away. February of 2012 will forever be etched in Knicks history. In at number 9, Melo and the playoffs hanging in the balance, April 8th, 2012. Carmelo Anthony's Knicks taking on the top-seeded Chicago Bulls. A seesaw contest until the 4th. That's when Carmelo Anthony went to work. Down by 3 with just seconds remaining, Melo launched a 3 over Taj Gibson, a current Knick these days, to send the game into overtime. In the extra period, the scene was similar. The Knicks were down 2 with Anthony face-to-face with Bulls forward Luol Deng in the closing seconds. He drains a game-clinching 3 to score his 41st, 42nd, and 43rd points that Easter Sunday afternoon. I'm sure if you're old enough, you remember where you were on Christmas Day 1984. In at number 8, Knicks hosting the then-rival New Jersey Nets. Although neither playoff hopefuls, the game had a playoff feel between the two cross-river teams battling for tri-state supremacy. One season removed from becoming the first player in decades to record back-to-back 50-point games, Bernard King was on the fast track to orange and blue royalty. Christmas Day solidified that. King made 19 of his 30 shots and 22 of his 26 free throws to log the first 60-point game of his career, a career high. It was a losing effort for the Knicks, who didn't have much of a surrounding cast to court around King. The rising star tore his ACL later that season and never was the player Knicks fans saw in the early 80s. Regardless, King's 60-point performance earns him a spot on my list. And at number 7, a farewell fit for a King, the King of the Knicks. The New York Knicks drafted Patrick Ewing with the first overall pick of the 1985 NBA draft, and from that point forward, he was the face of the franchise. In 15 seasons, Ewing averaged 23 points and 10 rebounds to go along with 3 blocks. Despite never winning a championship, Ewing is revered in the Big Apple as the leader of hard-nosed teams that earn the respect of New York City. On February 8, 2003, Ewing was honored for his years in the Garden. His number 33 raised to the MSG rafters, never to be worn again by any New York Knick. In the twilight of Ewing's career, the Knicks made one more improbable NBA Finals run. By the time the Knicks met San Antonio in the Finals, an injury sidelined Patrick, but the Knicks still managed a valiant effort against the Spurs and future Hall of Famers David Robinson and Tim Duncan. The 1999 Knicks became the first 8th-seeded team to reach the NBA Finals. On June 21st, 1999, they became the first 8th-seeded team to win a game in the NBA Finals. It turned out being the team's only finals win that year, but it didn't much matter to the Garden faithful, who were more than grateful to see their Cinderella Knicks in the finals in the first place. That moment takes the 6th spot on my list of the top 10 moments in Knicks history at the Garden. And then there were 5, from a team competing for a title to a team that won one. In at number 5, the 1972-73 New York Knicks, led by Walt Frazier, Bill Bradley, and Dave DeBusschere. The trio managed to polish off the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games to take home the team's second and most recent NBA championship. Before they sealed the deal in the City of Angels, though, they needed to win some crucial games at home. The Knicks moved within one victory of a title with a Game 4 win over Wilt Chamberlain's Lakers. Final score, 103-98 at MSG. DeBusschere added 33 points while Willis Reed tacked on 21 and set up the Knicks for a title-clinching Game 5 2 days later at the Forum. Patrick Ewing deserves a second spot on another Bobby C. Top 10 list. I have him here at number 4 with arguably his greatest individual moment. Ewing's Game 7 of the 1994 Eastern Conference Finals versus Indiana will go down as one of the greatest postseason performances in Knicks history. His 24 points and 22 rebounds all but secured the Knicks a spot in the 1994 NBA Finals. His tip slam off a missed John Starks layup with 27 seconds left in the game gave the team a 1-point lead over Reggie Miller's Pacers. Ewing was just 3 assists shy of a triple-double, and his 2 blocks and 2 steals filled out the rest of his stat sheet. That was Ewing's time to shine. Number 3 was all about LJ. With the 1999 Eastern Conference Finals tied at 1 game apiece, the Knicks were staring at a 2-1 deficit. Down by 3 with just 12 seconds remaining, New York needed a miracle. Enter Larry Johnson. The ball was inbounded to LJ, who chucked up a 3-pointer while making contact with Antonio Davis to get the whistle and the foul. The shot dropped. The Garden faithful rose as one, literally. Johnson made the free throw, giving the Knicks the lead. The 4-point play heard round the world. The Knickerbockers won the game and eventually the series. In the process, as we mentioned earlier, becoming the first 8 seed to ever reach the NBA Finals. When you think LJ, you think the 4-point play. When you think the dunk, it's immediately one man in Knicks history, John Starks. It's a play that's defined by that simple name, the dunk. With less than a minute remaining in the Knicks matchup against Chicago in the 1993 Eastern Conference Finals, the Knicks held a 91-88 lead. If they just could hold on, they would take a convincing 2-0 series lead on Michael Jordan's Bulls and be just 2 wins away from their first Finals appearance in 2 decades. Starks drove to his right off a pick set by Ewing. The diminutive guard took 1 dribble, 2 dribbles, and then took off with both feet. He was surprisingly met by Bulls center Horace Grant. Starks drove through the 6'10 defender, cocked back his left arm, and powered the ball through the net, sailing past Grant and Michael Jordan in the process. The Garden fans lost it. They just witnessed the best dunk in NBA playoff history. Starks gets the nod in the 2 spot, but you always have to leave the top spot for the champs. This one is an ode to Walt Frazier and Willis Reed. You know the story by now, or at least you should. In the 5th game of the 1970 NBA Finals, Reed suffered a severe thigh injury that held him out of Game 6. The injury left him very questionable for Game 7 at MSG. In dramatic fashion, Reed came barging out onto the Garden floor during warm-ups before the series' final game. He took and made the game's first 2 shots, sending the Knicks faithful into a frenzy. Those 2 buckets would be Reed's only points of the game. From there, Clyde took over the spotlight. He put on one of the best performances in NBA postseason history. Frazier dazzled, thriving, conniving, and mesmerizing, as he would say these days in the Knicks broadcast booth. Frazier scored 36 points and dished 18 assists to lead the Knickerbockers to a 113-99 victory and the first championship in franchise history. That's the clincher as the greatest Knicks moment ever on the Garden hardwood. That's my list. But I'm also down for a good debate. Share your thoughts with me on social media at The Voice, Bobby C. Stay with us. More open after this.
Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. I'm on with a fantastic guest. He's an accomplished actor. Did it at a young age. He's still a young man. He just turned 13 a little while ago. He joins us today to share more about his work and what he's doing. We welcome Salahedin Safi to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Tell us about some of the wonderful things that you're doing. I see what you have in back of you. It says Speak Peace, Reflect, and some of the other inspirational things. Why do you put those things on the wall? To remind people?
My mom actually put some of those things on the wall. It's like quotes that she would look at in the morning to, lift your spirit and, build your like demeanor kind of.
Okay, yeah.
Give you some characteristic, so like.
Yeah, motivate you, inspire you.
Exactly.
All of those things, right? Tell us about some of the things that you're doing. Tell us about your work.
What I'm doing right now. So mainly what I'm doing right now, it's quarantine. So there's really not much that you can do outside, but inside, some of the things that I like to do, I like to draw a lot. Drawing really helps me get my mind off of this quarantine. Also, I like to meditate.
How did you get into acting?
I got into acting, I think because of my mom. Yeah, like when I was a baby, I just was in these little commercials for baby diaper commercials and things like that.
So what are you working on right now? Are you're home working on a project? What are you working on?
I'm mostly making videos with my brothers right now.
What are they about?
The videos, they're singing videos. Like I'm singing and my brother might be rapping, or we're singing together or something.
How has being home changed your work? Because usually you're out doing something different. You're going to school.
Yeah, I think being home changed it because for my type of learning, I think that I'm more of really physical. Like I pick up learning physically. That's why I like to do a lot of drawing, because when I draw, it's like I'm doing something like, and it's physical, it's contact. So I feel like when I learn better when I'm actually like in school.
You're into the visual, huh?
Yeah, but it's different now. It's different now because I'm at home, so I'm more free. I'm more free to do what I want. So I have to learn where to build like guidelines to know when to do work and when I could relax and things. So it is different.
So where do you hope to go from here? What do you want to be when you graduate?
When I graduate, I want to be an artist, to be honest. I want to be an artist because me and my brothers have been doing that for a while. We've been pursuing this dream. And it's a dream of ours, all of ours, to make it to the top. So I want to go with my brothers.
You want to go all the way. Salahedin.
Right. I found myself dreaming in silver and gold, like a scene from a movie that every broken heart knows. We're walking on moonlight, and you pull me close. Split second and you disappeared, and then I was all alone. Woke up in tears with you by my side, breath of relief, and I realized I know there's no promise tomorrow. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you.
Go ahead, man.
Like I'm saying goodbye wherever we're standing. I won't take you for granted, 'cause we'll never know when we'll run out of time. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you, and I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you.
Woo! Thank you.
No problem.
Salahedin in the house. So do you have a website, or where can we get more information on you?
You can go to Salahedin_Sinji, my Instagram.
All right, there you go. Salahedin, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us on BronxNet.
No problem.
And good luck in your acting career and your singing career.
Thank
and
you. Thank
hope
you.
your brothers get together with you and you can take it to the sky.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck.
All right.
God bless and stay safe, all right?
All right. Have a wonderful.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Salahedin on BronxNet. Salahedin Safi. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe.
All right. You too.
All right. All right. We'll take a break and come back. I've got more open next. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show, and I want to thank our guest and you for tuning in and checking it all out. You can follow us on BronxNet for our continued coverage. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose the choice and let the choice control the chooser. I want to thank everybody, our producer Helen Greenberg, and all the people who have helped put this together, and all our people who tune in and check us out all the time. Thank you. We have an attitude of gratitude, and we can't thank you enough. Have a great day. Stay home. Stay safe. Stay blessed. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and I'll catch you over 107.5 WBLS. Love you all. Peace.